My name is Simon Okelo, and I'm here with my sister Naomi Wachira, who is an amazing musician, an amazing mother, and just an amazing human being.
Oh, thank you, Simon.
Yeah, we are tuned into Diaspora Connect on One Vibe TV, and this is a podcast where we share different stories in order to demystify the lives of Africans in the diaspora. And today we are, talking really about Africa Day, because we are at the Gates Foundation to celebrate Africa Day 2019. And our hope is to talk about some of the achievements that happened last year in Africa, some of the achievements that Naomi has had in her career musically, and just some of the positive things going on in the continent. Naomi, just in a nutshell, for you, how was 2018?
2018, let me see. I think, to me, actually, I call that year like the year where it was a full circle year for me.
Yeah.
Partly because I started my career back in 2011, and I'm a big believer in numbers, and I completed like a 7-year cycle. And it was beautiful for me because I got to go on tour with one of my favorite musicians.
Yeah.
And we did like a US tour, and we did like a Europe tour, and that for me was just like, this is the life that I've been trying to create and trying to get to. And it was really hopeful for me to see like, oh, this is possible, that I can I can actually achieve this, I can actually do this. And so that's how I'd sort of classify 2019 was
2018.
2018.
Yeah. Man, yeah, it's amazing, and just listening to you talk about touring with this artist that was like a dream you've been building or envisioning. It brings me to think of how you started. It's not easy to just wake up one day and say I'm going to be a full-time artist. And we've worked for since 2014 we've worked quite consistently. Can you take us back to where it started, because I know you are in the non-profit world for a while.
I always say my story begins when my daughter was born. And it started with this sort of like this idea that if I want to have a good life with my daughter, or pass on goodness to my daughter, then I need to be doing something that I'm really passionate about, and something that actually gives me life. And music was like the only thing that I could think of, because music has always been deep in my blood. And so slowly I started just putting myself out there, whether it's like going to open mics in Seattle. And then it just, part of it was also like the stars aligned for me, that the minute I said yes to that, doors just started opening, and people would reach out, and they're like, hey, I heard you do this, can you come and do this? And so one by one, like, that's how I've been able to build my career, is basically through word of mouth, and which is a huge privilege, and I'm like really, really grateful that that's how I've been able to build it. But it's not always easy, being a single parent, and being in this industry definitely has its challenges, and there are many times I've wanted to quit, but I also know that this is my mission. This is like the reason why I was created, and so I have to keep doing it, believing that that the things will show up when they need to show up, and help me to get to the next step or level of my career.
So you're saying you went through Europe, and I remember a few days ago when we were rehearsing with the Ancient Robots, you were mentioning that all your shows in Italy were sold out.
So it was crazy. 2017 I did a tour. It was my first time playing shows in Italy, and an agent had actually reached out to me, and he's like, I love your work, can you come for like 10 days and I'll book shows for you? And I was like, sure, why not? And I was so shocked at how every single show that I played was sold out, and this is like the first time playing in Italy. And it blew me away, like, and again, the other thing about it was like, a lot of the shows that I played, most Italians did not speak fluent English, and yet like there was this connection that like people would always come and say that like, I couldn't understand everything that you said, but there was something about the spirit that was coming out that like I really connected with that, and like and to me that's like the privilege of music, is that you don't need to understand the language,
Yeah.
you know, to feel the energy, to feel the message, to understand like what the artist is trying to communicate.
Yeah.
And so that was such an incredible experience
Yeah.
that I'm really grateful for.
So then, who was this artist that you're traveling with, that you toured with?
His name is Damien Gerardo.
Okay,
He's a folk artist, and the crazy thing is like, the cool part about even going on tour with him was the first time I ever did open mic. He was actually at that open mic, and
Yeah.
I remember he came and introduced himself. And I knew who he was because I listened to his music way back in like the early 2000s, and so I was like really in awe that that he liked what I was doing, and so like 7 years later for him to come and ask me to go on tour with him was like, it almost felt like, kind of like, oh, I've done this thing and like I've done it really well, and like and I'm getting this opportunity,
being seen,
I'm being seen and like. And being given this opportunity to tour not just America but Europe and share this gift, and so that was incredible.
Yeah, man. So you toured Italy, then you toured Europe. What countries in Europe did you guys go
let's
to?
see, we went to France, we did Switzerland, we did the UK, we did Belgium, and then on my own I've done like Germany and the Netherlands, and it's always been amazing.
Man, there's not enough African artists who are touring like that.
Yes,
What did you put into it? Like, what type of planning and resources did you put into?
A lot of it is just connections, really, and just even networking with people. A lot of shows have come about because somebody listened to my music online and they reached out to me, and they were like, oh, I would love for you to come and play here. And so like if I do decide to go to Europe, then I have people that I can reach out to and say, hey, I'm coming, like, I would like to book a show. So a lot of it has just been that, like literally just like either contacting people contacting me and asking if I can go and tour, and that's how I've been able to sort of make that happen.
Wow. So now, you're mentioning earlier that some things have pushed you to a point where you felt like quitting. What is one of those things that have pushed you that far?
Money is always like the big thing, and because I think part of it is like because I feel like I'm still building a name for myself, and it's like, so there's always like this weird thing I still have to negotiate of just like, this is what I think I'm worth, but somebody's like, oh, this is how much I can pay you, and you kind of have to balance it out. Like, when is the right time to be like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, or I'm just gonna do this because I actually do need the money, and so I think that's always been like the trick is just trying to balance like what I think I'm worth, and also like what are the needs that I have to make sure that I keep meeting those needs. But to me, I think the finances has always been like the big issue for me, that I'm still trying to figure out how to jump over that hurdle, and but
it takes work and time and patience.
It does. I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's time, it's patience, it's and I'm really grateful that I've been doing this 8 years now, and and since 2013, like I've only relied on music as my source of income.
It's no joke.
It's not a joke, and it's a lot of hard work, and sometimes I feel bad for my daughter because it also means that I don't get to spend as much time with her because I have to try and book shows, I have to do interviews, and I have to plan like what needs to go where and how do I need to make this happen. So it definitely comes with the cost, but
like everything else, all jobs come
they all come with the cost, but I'm hoping that it trades off in that, because I bring her on the road with me, and so we sort of get to have like these incredible experiences, whether it's touring the US or touring Europe, and and I'm always like, I feel like this is a good trade-off, that I get to work hard, but then I also get to bring you along, and you get to see the world, and because it's like not every 9-year-old has had the chance to like go to like 8 different countries, and so like that's what I'm praying that will end up actually working in our benefit in the long run. So
she's quite mature, and it's easy to strike a conversation with her.
Yeah.
So what gives you the most hope about Africa, considering the conversation we were having before we started filming.
Yeah.
You know, where we were talking about the 4 areas that the African Union, specifically the African Union ambassador to the United States, her name is Dr. Arikana. She's quite amazing. You should check her out.
Yeah, I would love to.
You know, I think she's currently the African lady that I'm looking up to.
Yeah.
Like, her speeches are just powerful. But she was talking about 4 things that that Africa achieved collectively. You know, the first one was the ratification of the free trade area, and then the second one was the protocol for free movement of people. Then the fourth one was there's a levy. The AU has been depending on international communities to provide funding for its operation, and for the first time African countries are providing 0.2% towards the operation of the AU, which is a huge step to being a free institution. And then the fourth one is the open air space, traffic for African countries and the airlines from within the continent, to increase commerce and things like that. So when I hear things like this, I feel like there's hope, because she was saying that the last time African heads of states, 55 of them came together, was in 1963, and they were trying to begin doing things like this, where they go and bargain as a collective, but only 5 countries were of the idea of a united front, and at that time the rest of the continent said, no, let's go slow, and so she was like, the continent has been going slow since then, and so she, you can just see how proud she is that it took us less than 12 months to ratify, for 22 countries to ratify these issues. So when you hear about something like this, and you've been touring Europe, and we all know how challenging it is to even tour Africa, but then there's a desire, there's like, I want to go to Nigeria, then go to Kenya, then Malawi, but you have to go to Europe to go to Nigeria or Malawi, so do you feel that this is hopeful, or do you think it's just another wave of?
I feel like that's really hopeful. As you were talking, I kept thinking, there's always somebody who says that, like, when we're united, like, we actually get to go further. You know what I mean? And like this sense of, like, when we come together as a continent and recognize that, even with our differences of cultures and peoples, and like, there's still something that connects all of us, and the minute we're able to sort of embrace that thing that connects us, then I feel like, we can do whatever we decide to do, or go whatever, wherever we want to go. Like, we're able to achieve that, because it's not about power, it's not about ego, it's just about, like, how do we move forward and how do we advance, and like, because we've been given everything we need to succeed and to be brilliant and to like, to do incredible things, and I think sometimes, like, power gets in the way and egos get in the way, and but I think that's a really hopeful. I feel really, really hopeful about having that approach of kind of, let's take our own power back and use
grow,
it, use it for our own benefit, and
Now, let's say money was not a problem. You had all the money you needed, like Bill Gates.
That would be so amazing.
What would you do? Would you stay here in the States, or would you move back to Africa?
I always, my daughter and I talk about this quite a bit, and I always say that I think I would split my time between the U.S. and Kenya, and I have this dream of someday opening a school in my father's name. My father passed away 6 years ago, and education was so huge for him, and I've always wanted to, like, build, like, a leadership academy that just, not just education, but like life, like how do you live life, how do you empower yourself, how do you talk about money, how do you talk about career, and like and how to really live this life, and so that's my dream. It's like someday, like, I would love to be able to stay home and like, and bring in, like, people of influence to kind of share like kind of pretty much what Oprah does, with her school. It's like give people the chance to, like, really, really succeed in life. And education is great, but you want to do it holistically, for the whole person. So that's like the dream that I have. And
you painted it in a way that I think it will come true, you know.
Yeah, I know it will. I know it will.
Man.
I know it's gonna come true.
Yeah. Would you just look at the camera and ask people to tune in to One Vibe TV on YouTube? And just say anything else that we haven't discussed. Anything you want to pass on to the people?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's anything I was gonna say for anyone who's listening, is first and foremost, like, embrace and love who you are, accept everything that you've been created to be, and then offer that to the world. Like, there's a gift in you that the world is waiting to hear. And also check out One Vibe TV. They're doing incredible things all about empowering young people, especially using the arts, which I think is really, really powerful. So yeah, please check them out and follow them and support them in any way you can. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Today we are recording Diaspora Connect at the Gates Foundation, where we are celebrating Africa Day. So in case you didn't make it, tune in to One Vibe TV. My name is Simon Okelo, and this is my sister Naomi Wachira. Thank you for the Gates Foundation, and Dunia Mapenzi is in the building. Shout out. And Dubai, the comedian General Mutombo is also here. So thank you for watching. Asante.